everybody, how are you guys doing today? I decided that I was going to make a video about my miscarriage story. I have not really told you guys the story, so I figured I would let you guys know exactly what I went through, and maybe some of you guys can relate. I've seen YouTube videos and I thought, why not put mine out there? It's hard to talk about, but I think it's something that should be shared. So I've had 7 pregnancies altogether and 4 miscarriages in those 7 pregnancies. And each one of them just was harder and harder. So I'll go back to the beginning before my daughter. I thought that, I had always wanted to be a mom. And I thought that, I know my mom had 1 miscarriage before me, so I don't know, I had a feeling that that was going to happen to me, but it still did not change the effect of how hard it was on me when it happened. So, I had gotten married rather young, and we had decided before we got married, because I had wanted kids, and I don't think he really wanted kids at the time, and I had said, well, listen, if we get married, I want to have kids. So we had made a deal that, all right, 2 years into our marriage, we'll start trying. Well, 2 years into our marriage came, and it happened really, really quick. I had gotten pregnant, and I remember it very well. The day that I found out that I was pregnant, it was really early in the morning. My husband at the time went to work, and I had the test. I was waiting. I was ready. I wanted to test, and I did. I took the test, and when that positive sign came up, I literally ran from one end of the house to the other in excitement, jumping up and down. I was so excited. I wanted kids so bad. And so over the next few days, I was with my friends, and I think we were at McDonald's or something, and I had told them, like, I feel like something's wrong. I just feel like something's wrong. I wasn't in any kind of pain or anything like that. I felt in my gut something was wrong. And sure enough, the next day, I started to miscarry, and it was so heartbreaking. And then I want to say that was probably the beginning of the end of my first marriage, because, I went to my doctor and we discussed options, and he said that I should not try again for another 3 months. And when I had brought that to my husband at the time, it was more of a, well, it's out of the question. We're not going to have kids right now. And to me, it really broke my heart, because I wanted kids really bad. It was already bad enough that I lost a child. And even though it was early on in the pregnancy, it still hurt really, really bad. So I would say probably a year later, I had started dating a guy. Not a good guy, but I started dating a guy. And we were split. Me and my husband had split after a year or so, and I had just gone through a really horrible phase. After that, I just went kind of wild, I guess you could say, because I don't know, it was, the heartbreak of everything. My marriage was over, I lost a child, it was just all too much to bear, and I just my rebellious side came out, I guess you can say. So I started dating this guy, and this guy had cheated a lot and everything, and it was really stupid to even be with the guy, and that's another story for another time. But I had ended up pregnant again, and this time I was more hopeful, because I thought, well, the first miscarriage happened, so it's out of the way. Never did it cross my mind that I would miscarry again. Never. And so, sure enough, I was a little bit further along, and I woke up in severe pain, and I miscarried. I miscarried again. I'm just trying to think. I remember the raw emotion I felt, and I was just so, I'm like, why? Why is this happening? I don't understand. why can't I have a baby? Why can I not have a baby? What is wrong? Am I going to be a bad mom? Every question under the sun just came up. Why? A month later, I had gotten pregnant again, and now this time, I didn't have any hopes. I mean, I had maybe a little bit of hope, but I was just like, I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I just didn't know if it was going to work out for me. Then one day, I woke up again, and I was miscarrying. This time it was pretty bad. I was really dizzy. I wasn't obviously feeling good. I was in pain. I was dizzy. I was angry. I was so angry. I remember I was in my house and I was just tearing it apart. I was throwing things, knocking things over, throwing chairs. I was so angry. And my question was, why? Why? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with my body? I've had so many tests, and they could not figure out what was wrong with me. So at this point, I just, I gave up. I'm like, it's apparent I'm not gonna stay pregnant. I should say I can get pregnant very easily, but I'm not gonna stay pregnant. And I was in my 20s at this time, So I just, I lost all hope. And so a couple of years had gone by, and I had already given up. I wasn't gonna be a mom. And I remember actually it was probably around the time that I miscarried, my brother had called me, and I know it had to be a hard phone call for him, because he knew what I had been going through with my miscarriages. But he had called me, and I remember he had apologized, in which there was no reason to apologize. I mean, when you want to share good news, you want to share good news. And his wife had ended up pregnant with their first child. And, I sounded happy on the phone for them, but inside I was being torn apart. Here they are, they're having their first child, and I've been pregnant 3 times and lost all 3 children. And I hung up that phone and I just cried for hours. I cried and I cried and I cried. My heart was so broken. So now we have a couple years later, and I met a guy, which I have a video on here, which they took the music off and everything. I might have to make a new video on it. But I met a guy, and I had been with him for a good 1.5 years, and it was a very awful relationship. It was a very abusive relationship. And I would say I was at rock bottom at this point, because I had just, it was like jumping out of a plane without a parachute after all this has happened, years down. My life was out of control. I was just not in a good place at all. I was very rebellious. So here I am with this guy. And at this point, I didn't think I could even get pregnant. I don't know why, but I didn't think I could get pregnant. So 1.5 years into the relationship, which it was a serious relationship, but not a good one, not a healthy one, I knew I had to get out. And when I did get out, I was on my way to Cedar Point with some friends, and the guy, even though we were broken up, we had bought tickets to Cedar Point, so we were going. And on the way there, I took a test, and I was pregnant. I thought maybe my days were off, but I'm like, I better test just in case, because if you miscarry, you can't use tampons, and you have to use pads because you can affect yourself. So I took the test, and I was in a Starbucks bathroom, and I'm like, I was happy, but at the same time, I was filled with dread, because I knew what was coming. I knew that I was going to miscarry. I just knew it. I'm like, I'm not going to, put all my hope into some baby. So I remember, and I don't mean that like some baby, but I mean a pregnancy that I know is just absolutely going to fail. I've had 3 miscarriages. So I remember I prayed every single night with that pregnancy, and the days would just keep going by. I was 6 weeks pregnant. I was 7 weeks pregnant, 8 weeks pregnant, 9 weeks pregnant. I'm like, is this possible? I've miscarried 3 times. How is this possible? You know, and it got to the point where, you know, I've lost contact with that guy. In fact, it's just a whole different story. I'll make a video about it, but I ended up staying pregnant, and I did have a little girl. And because I had a little bit of hope, I named her Annabelle Hope, and that is my daughter. So obviously it was really surreal for me to have a child after so many miscarriages. And I was truly blessed to actually have one. And, you know, I was really, really happy. I wanted more, but I knew that, you know what, God has blessed me. I will take what I can get. I'm not going to be stingy. In my eyes, I thought I would be stingy if I got more children. So I had been single for 2 years. I wanted nothing to do with guys because of the relationship I was in. So when I met Chris, we ended up getting together, and you know, Annabelle was 10 months old when we met and dated, and she was a year old when we got married. So I didn't want to rush another child or anything. I didn't want to get pregnant right away. It just was too soon. And so, and we were careful, but I started working as a waitress because I just wanted a job. I needed to get out of the house. I started working as a waitress, and one day I found out that I was pregnant. And I, you know, at this point I've regained all hope. I've regained all hope. I'm like, I had a baby. I had a baby. There's no more miscarriages. It's all behind me. And so a few days later, I went to a meeting at work, and I was in so much pain. And I'll tell you, at first I thought it was just gas pain. But then on my way home, the pain was so unbearable. I knew. And as soon as I got home, I discovered that I was indeed having a miscarriage. Not again. I can't go through all this again. And so that was very heartbreaking for me. It was heartbreaking for my husband. I went into a bit of a depression. I just didn't know what was wrong with my body, and I've gone to doctors and everything, and I did not know what was wrong with me. You know, as much heartache as those miscarriages, you know, gave me, as much heartache as the miscarriages gave me, I had 3 blessings, actually 5 blessings, because I had my 2 stepsons. So I was kind of like having 2 kids without all the difficulties of giving birth. So I was truly blessed, and I count my blessings every single day. I love my children with all my heart. I just wanted you guys to know that if you're miscarrying, if it's like one after the other, after the other, after the other, you know what? Don't give up hope. Do not give up hope. You know, that's what I did. I gave up hope, and I thought there was no chance on God's green earth that I would have a child, and I have been blessed 3 times over. And I still, I mean, in my heart, I still want one more, but I'm scared to try. Especially, like, I wouldn't try right now. But that is my miscarriage story. I hope I've given you guys a little bit of hope. Just know that there are blessings out there, and you just have to wait for them. And there's always a reason for what's happening around you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've had some insight, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I put out videos every single day. Mommy videos, vlogs, recipes, anything under the sun, tags. So I'm going to end you with that, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.